And welcome back, guys, to another wicked video.
Wicked.
If you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit that subscribe button for everything Wicked Comics and comic book related. Um, we're continuing on with making comics the Wicked Way video series. In this lesson, I should have made this video probably first, but uh, we're going to be talking about story. Probably the number one important thing when it comes to making comics, well, as far and my viewpoint is definitely the story. If you don't have a good and a good story, something that's not relatable to, or people don't want to know more about, I mean, you basically have nothing. A great story gets you really far away. Even say a good story is more important than fantastic artwork. Call me crazy, but artwork, yeah, it is. It is. I mean, we're dealing with the visual field, but a good story will get you a far away. So I weigh storytelling at number one, and then below that, I would say artwork. So just to write that down, I would let's put that number one is story, and I'm gonna put two emphasis on artwork. So jumping into storytelling. Um, if you guys notice, even in major films, movies that you love, everything follows. Sometimes it mostly follows a certain pattern, which I did I'm going to show you guys a little diagram. I call it the Wicked diagram for stories. Something so you guys could see exactly what I'm talking about. It looks something like this. Something simple. So it's basically a straight line. Sorry. A straight line going into a point, then coming down, and then coming back to a straight line. So you guys are looking at this, probably asking, what exactly is this? Well, and then I'm going to be showing you guys some of the Wicked titles, and then I'll be discussing, basically that same format of how I applied it to each of the titles. And this way, I mean, no matter what kind of story you make, you'll always find a way to make it work. So I would say the first straight line, I would say, is the beginning. Sorry, beginning. Yeah, beginning. Sorry if I misspelled that. But or let's just call it start. Make it easier. So basically, the start. That's that's the beginning of the story. Character is maybe he's just in his normal life. Everything is going well. Nothing's really happened to him yet, and you're just introducing the character, some of his mannerisms. What maybe his occupation. What does he do? That's what I mean by start. Giving your character, just some ordinary qualities. I mean, this is just a very basic thing. Maybe it doesn't apply to other. If you're starting off your characters already some sort of a superhero already, but I'm building on the fact that maybe just a basic point, just a starting point. So just is he just an ordinary person? What does he do? job status, things of that nature. The next straight line going into the point, I call that rising action. Rising action, I consider that a series of events that happen to the character, and it changes him. You know, it's basically the start off point to for him to go on this journey. You know, every story is some sort of journey. You know, you want to make it interesting. You know, something traumatic happens to this character. Things of things along those lines you want to think about when you're making your story. You know, you want something that's something that the character is going to have to struggle with to get to his goals. You know, because that's what you want to think about. You know, what is the character? What is his goals? What does he want to accomplish? And how is he going to accomplish these things that are set forth in the story? So that's rising action. Then the point, I would say, is the climax. The climax, you know, is the highest point in the story. It's the turning point in the story. You know, it's all up to you. Do you want the character to succeed? Do you want him to fail? That's up to you as the writer or creator to see where the story's going to go. The next line down, I call it the falling action. Those are a series of events that are leading towards the finale. You know, is it a final battle? Is it a duel? Is he going to face the final boss? You know, things of that. I consider falling action. You know, the major events that are leading towards the conclusion of the story. That's what I mean by falling action. And then, of course, the last line, I call it the conclusion. Conclusion, that's pretty self-explanatory. You know, it's just the finale of the story. You know, and as far as comic books, it's a little bit different because it's not really the format's the same, but you got to consider that you're going to be making several issues of this character, so it won't be. You would have to think about it in longer terms when you're coming to a comic book. You know, how you break it up into, say, I mean, look at famous characters like Superman and Batman. I mean, they've been going on since, I'm not sure the exact dates, but 30s, 40s, 1930s, 1940s. Look how many comic books they have, and they're still going, and they haven't really reached a final conclusion yet. You know, they just keep on going. Things more like movies, you'll see a conclusion sooner, or it's broken into a few parts of it's broken into part 1, part 2, part 3. You know, say like Lord of the Rings or things like of that nature. So, but definitely when you're doing it for your comic book or manga, just think about it in long terms or in issues. You know, how many issues is it going to take to complete this diagram? You know, because you just don't want to make a 2-issue comic and then that's it. You know, unless that's what you're going for. But I recommend that at least you have a good few issues that so you could really establish the character and get a good conclusion and go through the diagram. So just to remember the diagram, it's the start, then the rising action, up to the climax, then the falling action, and then to the conclusion. But just to show you guys, I took some of the wicked titles out, and then I'm going to discuss more or less how the diagram work within each story. Cronus is our Greek mythology character. I take this one. I use this one as the first example because I think the hero's journey is pretty well described. I mean, it's going to be used in this series. You know, he's just the son of he's a half god, half titan, and he's sent into he's got to kill the goddess of power called Aurelia. So then you have the start. That would be the start. He goes through this whole war in the beginning, and he basically he has to kill Aurelia, but something happens. That's what I was saying. The rising action, something happens to the character. He was supposed to kill her, but he ended up not killing her. So he ends up in this pretty bad situation where he ends up a captive in this place called the Chamber of Lost Souls, and then the climax. He comes across this demon, and the demon gives him some like an ultimatum. He's gotta go and find this powerful war horse named Arion. And then with that, he says, he gives him the ultimatum that you either get stuck here and rot for the rest of your life, or you find me this powerful war horse. So he takes the offer, and he's on his way on his journey. So I can't really go through all the, I can't tell you all the conclusion yet, because that's pretty much that's the beginning of the story. But if you could see, it more or less followed that diagram that I demonstrated to you guys. It really is helpful. Whenever I'm stuck or anything on stories, it helps to look back at the small little diagram and help you build your story based on that. Bloodstone, I'll discuss with you guys real quick. So the start, it's that's why I said, but sometimes your story could be it could be different, because I started Bloodstone. It almost it's the backstory of the stone itself that transformed the assassin Bishop Cross into Bloodstone. So sometimes you could play around with story ideas. I'm not going to discuss that too much yet. But sometimes you could break the pattern. But just the beginning of the story. You have this. It's a blood council. They're a blood council. They're holding a council to what they're going to do with the Bloodstone. It's this very strong evil angel called Gabriel, and they want him to get out of the council because he's becoming too evil, and he has different plans in mind. He wants to be the guardian of the Bloodstone, and with that he starts killing all the councilmen, and basically the stone gets the other angels are able to escape with the stone down into this land called God's land, and that's when the assassin Bishop Cross he comes across this angel holding, containing the the bloodstone, and that's when he holds it, and he transforms into bloodstone. So he's basically now the guardian of the stone. So that pretty much follows the pattern. You know, the start, rising action into the climax again. So just to show you guys that the diagram is it worked again for that title, even though it was a little bit different, you know, because the beginning shows a little bit of almost like a backstory of the stone with the council, with the blood council. But it jumped right into the diagram. So okay, another example for you guys. It's a title called Dragon Masters. Story starts off. It's Draco. He's his kingdom gets attacked by slayers, and they basically kill his family, and he's left abandoned, and he's rescued by a wizard called Ragnar, which he trains him. Sorry if you could see that. He trains him, as a dragon slayer. So that's the beginning of the story. His call to action is, these slayers, these deadly slayers are coming into Dragonia to, they want to take over all the lands and basically enslave everybody. So Draco's call to action to defend the lands and the people of Dragonia. So that's another, goes pretty solid with the diagram. So I hope you guys I hope that the diagram works for you guys. I mean, it whenever I'm feeling stuck, or I don't know where the story's going, I always look back to it, and it's a very easy thing to follow. You don't have to follow it to a T, but just a few things of advice. Try to make it interesting. Don't make it so simple that the character achieves his goals so easy. It's always good to see a story of struggle, and not saying that you always have to do it. Sometimes I've seen some stories that things come easy. It's a comedy, or maybe it's just a very strong character that he doesn't really have to struggle to get to his goals. I'm just saying, like say like One Punch Man. He beats everybody with one punch. Things like that, but it works. So sometimes you don't need a big struggle, but usually a good struggle to reach his or her goals is always a good idea to maintain. So that's it for this video, guys. Remember to hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think of the lesson. Next video, I'm not sure what we're going to discuss, but we're going to keep on going more and more detail into making comics, making